foremost, I'm going to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, right, the Heavenly Father, and His Son that the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? So brothers and sisters can see it on the topic of the video, what we're going to be touching on, right? The title of the video is The Patient of the Saints, right? So as the saints of the Most High, as the children of the Most High, we have to continue to have patience, right? We have to have patience in this walk, right? We can't just be all, hasty with certain things, right? We have to be patient with certain things when we're going through, with certain trials, with tribulation, even with certain things that we're hoping and waiting for, like salvation, right? For us to be taken out of this place and put back home, right? We have to have the patience, right? I will open up with this precept right here. This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10, and it reads and says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints," right? So we have to be patient to see these things. We have to be patient to see the downfall of our enemy. We have to be patient to see that all the atrocities that they have done unto us is going to be double fold back unto them, right? The leading us into captivity, right? Killing us with the sword, right? All these things are going to come back unto them, and we have to be patient for it, right? As the saints of the Most High, right? I'm going to get one more in chapter 14. This is Revelation chapter 14, and I'm going to start at verse 12. And it reads, it says, "Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushua." Right? So the saints of the Most High, was going to continue to keep his laws and commandments right now, faithfully, in the name of Yahushua, man. So you have to have patience. You have to have faith. You have to have these certain attributes to even be patient in these last days, man. To wait for the Lord, right? So lucky for the background noise too, right? Most High willing, brothers and sisters can hear me clearly too. Let me know if the audio is a little choppy or it's not clear enough. Just let me know, Baba Gashar, right? So let's move on, right? I want to get James, right? Let's go to James. Mighty Book of James. Let's get James chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 11, right? It says, "Behold, we count them happy which endure," right? So we count, brothers and sisters happy, which to endure in these last days, man. We have to continue to, count ourselves, happy to endure throughout the trials and tribulations that we go through, right? The financial issues, those certain troubles that come out of nowhere, right? Those certain troubles that just come out of nowhere. Your car just went down, right? Your lights just went off in your apartment or your home. You getting a whole bunch of spirits at work, right? Your boss is just getting on you for no reason, right? All these things are just coming upon you. Your wife is saying this, that, the third, and your children doing this, and just all these things that's going on, right? You just have to continue to be patient and wait and realize, this is all a spiritual battle, right? And you have to be patient in this battle, right? Reading on. "Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord," right? So we know what happened in the first chapter of Job and the last chapter of Job. Job lost everything. The first couple of chapters of Job lost everything, right? When you really go into chapter 2, He lost everything. Everything was named in chapter 1 and lost everything in chapter 2. Right? He had cattle. He had a house, a big house. He had home. He had a home. He had children. He had servants. He had everything that as a man would actually need in this life. Right? But double fold. Double fold. He had everything in righteousness too. Right? And then lost everything just to test his faith, his patience, and his trust in the Lord. Right? Because Satan, let's actually go ahead and get the count. Let's just go ahead to the count real quick. Let's go ahead. This is Job chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse. I'm going to start at verse 3. And this is Job chapter 2 and verse 3. And it reads, "The Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth Yahweh and escheweth evil. Thou movest Slaki, and still he holdeth fast his integrity, or Slaki, his dignity, Slaki, his integrity, Slaki, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause." Right? So the Lord is giving all these good things, right, about Job, being his servant and so forth, and no one is like him in the earth. Right? But Satan, right, when you read on, he tells him, is he actually still going to be your servant if you take all these things away from him? Right? Let's jump down. I'm gonna jump down. Actually, I think I want chapter 1. No. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to chapter 1 real quick, Salaki. Let's get chapter 1 real quick. This is Job chapter 1 and verse 9, right? It says, "Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doeth Job fear Yahweh for naught? Right? Has not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work, Salaki. Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thy hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face." So this is what Satan wanted to do. Satan wanted to prove the fact that if you touched, basically, if you judge him or test him, right? If you test him, right, I guarantee that he's going to curse you in your face. That's what he was doing. He came to the Lord, right, and told the Lord, "Hey, look, if you test him, let's see if he's still going to serve you. Let's see if all these things that you have gave him, all the substance and everything that you have increased within the land, is he still going to serve you if you take all those things away from him?" Right? Shalom, all praises. Now let's go back to chapter 2, right? This is Job chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, "So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole from the sole of his feet unto the crown, unto his crown. Right? So he had these boils, right? He was just, going through it. He was going through it, man. He was going through it, right? Um reading actually I'm gonna jump down. I'm jumping to verse 9. It says, Then said his wife unto him, Doeth thou still restrain thy integrity? Curse Yahweh and die. Right now, his wife is trying to get on him. Now his wife is trying to make him, curse the Most High, because now he lost all his riches. Now he's being he's being scourged, right? Having these boils on him and stuff like that. Now his wife is trying to make him, curse the Most High. But what did Job say? Right? It says, But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What shall we receive good at the hand of Yahweh? And shall we not receive evil? Right? So he's saying, oh, okay, so you think that we're just going to receive good and not evil too? That we're not going to be tested? That's really him telling us that you're going to receive good from the Lord, right? But then at the same time, you're going to receive these certain things, these certain things that you're going through, the trials and tribulation, right? All these certain things that's going to come upon you. These evils is going to come upon you too. You his child, you his servant. We all have to go through this. Our forefathers had to go through it. Now we have to go through it, but we have to have the patience. We have to have the same patience that our forefathers had, right? Reading on, in all this did not Job sin with his lips. So he didn't do all that. He didn't curse the Lord, right? He still kept his faith and his patience, right? Let's go to the last chapter. To the last chapter. Last chapter real quick. This is Job chapter 42. And I'm going to start at verse... Bear with me. Start at verse 12. It says, So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than more than his beginning. So the Lord blessed him even more than he had in the beginning. You got to think about that. All the things that he lost within the first chapter that was listed, he was given even more in the latter, right? For he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters, right? So he's getting double fold on everything that he had. Everything that he had, he's getting double fold. All praise the Most High God. And that's how you have to feel when you're going through something. When you lose something, you might lose your car, you might lose your home, you might lose that job that you was working at for about 5 years straight. You never really called off, right? You never really gave them no issues, right? But you just gotta let go. For one thing. Not no warning, not no nothing. Right? You just gotta let go. You gotta continue to have the patience of the saints, man. You have to continue to be patient when you befall on these certain troubles, man. You have to, right? Salaki. So let's go back. Let's go back to James. Let's go back to James 5 and 11. Just wanted to get that account, right? So let's go back to James. This is James chapter 5 and verse 11. And it reads, it says, behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and tender, it's like and of tender mercy. So we have to realize that the Lord has mercy. He has mercy. He has compassion on us, right? You have to remember that when you're going through these certain troubles. And that's really being patient, because you have to wait on the Lord. You have to wait on the Lord. You can't do nothing without the Lord. It'd be certain things that's out of our reach. When those certain things that is out of our reach, those things you can't do anything about. You can't. You have to really wait on the Lord. You have to, because all those certain things, you can do by yourself is because the Lord gave you the opportunity to do that. But when you can't do that, that's when you really have to show your patience. That's when you have to really show your faith and trust in Him. You have to wait. You have to, right? There's been a few times when, it was a lot of things out of my reach. A lot of things out of my reach, man. A lot. But when you really realize that you really need the Lord, like when you really realize, like when you go through these certain things, and brothers and sisters can count to this, when you go through these certain things, man, you really have to show your faith. You really have to show your patience and your trust in the Lord. Call on the Lord and pray for more patience if you know you don't have it. You have to, man. When you really going through these things, you really have to sit there and meditate and pray to the Lord for more patience, man. Because a lot of people, if you don't have patience, man, if you don't have patience, there's no way of living. There's no way of really. You can't serve the Lord without having patience. you can't, because now you're being impatient, and that's how a lot of people fall too. That's how a lot of people fall in this work in this truth, man. A lot of people fall out of the truth because they really didn't have patience in the begin with. You didn't have patience. If you really wanted to serve the Lord and you really wanted to do these things, you would have patience, because certain things are going to befall you. The Lord let us know that. He warned us of that. But you sat here and thought everything was going to be okay. Peaches and cream. No. You have to have faith, patience, trust. You have to have these things. Right? Come on. Let's go to I want to get one of my favorite precepts. One of my favorite chapters. Brothers and sisters probably already know what chapter I'm going to. Let's get Sirach, man. One of my favorite chapters. This chapter keeps me going, man. I can't tell you how many times I relate onto this chapter. Like I even think about this chapter when I'm going through certain things. Right? This chapter is a very beautiful chapter. If brothers and sisters haven't really read this chapter and you only read certain precepts, read the whole chapter. Right? This is Sirach chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 1, right? It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And while you're preparing your soul for temptation, right, you're having the patience as well throughout that time, right? When you're going through that tribulation that he's telling you prepare for, you have to have that patience. So let's jump down. Let's jump down to verse 4, right? It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient, right? So whatever is brought upon you, be patient and take it cheerfully as well. first take it cheerfully. Call upon the Lord. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and thank him. Thank him for even considering you to go through it. Because a lot of people that's out here, that's not built like you, not built like certain brothers and sisters that's in the truth to go through these certain things, will fall at the very first sight. At the very first sight. Right? So you got to continue to have patience and be cheerful when you go through those things. Right? Reading on. When thou art charged to a low estate. Right? So when you're brought very low, when you're brought down very low, right? Right, all praise the Most High. Right, so let's go. Let's move. Oh, actually, there was something else I wanted to jump into within that chapter. I want to jump down to verse 14 because if you don't have patience, right, well, the Lord is going to come for you. The Lord is going to judge you because you didn't want to have that patience, right? Let's jump down. I want to jump down to verse 14. It says, "Woe unto you that have lost patience. And what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you?" What are you going to do in that day when the Lord visit you because you lost the patience? You can't do nothing about it. When the Lord gets on you after that, that's it. That's it. That is it from there, man. You don't want the Lord to visit you because you lost the patience. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. You have to continue to be patient. Wait for the Lord. Don't take certain matters in your own hand, especially things that's out of your reach. Especially with us being in this captivity right now, we can't do nothing right now except for keep the commandments, keep the faith, and wait patiently for our Lord to come back and take us home. You think the Lord is not waiting patiently right now to come get us out of here? You don't think that? He's sitting there waiting patiently to get us out of here. He's waiting because he don't know when he's coming back. Right? Actually, it was a precept that I was thinking of. Salaki. Bear with me. I want to get this one precept. I'm going to look it up real quick. I want to see if I can get it. Salaki. Because the Lord, he's waiting patiently. He's waiting patiently right now. Right now. You know, because... No, that's not what I want. You think he's just sitting up there in the third heavens and not waiting as well? He wants to get us out of here as bad as we want to get out of here. He want to bring us home, right? No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. Wait, let me see. Babusha. Let me see if I can get this. If I can get this, I'm gonna just go ahead. Can brothers and sisters hear me now? Can brothers and sisters? Can brothers and sisters? Okay, Khan, I think it's working now. Can brothers and sisters? Okay, Khan, I think it's working. All right, all praise the Most High God. All praise the Most High God. That was Satan. Satan coming in here immediately, man. Try to take the word away. All praise the Most High. All right, let's get back to it. All praise the Most High God. That's, oh, man. Satan. Okay, all right. Let's get back to it. So, let's go ahead. I want to get this. Actually, I just saw that precept, so I want to get that too. This is Jeremiah chapter 40. I'm going to start at verse... Jeremiah, that one. Jeremiah 40 and verse... oh, no, that's not Jeremiah. I think it was Isaiah that I wanted. Yeah, it's Isaiah that I wanted. Isaiah... Right. This is Isaiah chapter 40, and I'm going to start at verse 31. And it reads, it says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." Right? So if we wait on the Lord, right, the Lord is going to renew our strength, man. So we have to wait. We have to be patient, right? We can't just be doing our own thing, man. We cannot try to do our own thing. We have to wait for the Lord, right? All right, so let's go to Job real quick. All right, get this in Job chapter 7. All right. And we're gonna be closing this up pretty soon. Let me get a couple more that we're gonna close out. All right, we're gonna close out. I'm gonna get this in Job real quick. This is Job chapter 7. Chapter 7 and start at verse 18. Right, and it reads, oh, Slaki. "And that thou shouldest visit him every morning and try him every moment." Right, so we're going to be tried every moment. Right, we're going to be visited and tried every moment, man. So we have to continue to have faith and be patient, because the Lord is going to try us. He's going to try us, and we have to realize that, right? Anybody that's in this truth thinking that they're not going to be visited and tried, you're sadly mistaken, man. Because that means the Lord is not really dealing with you, right? So don't think that the Lord is not going to try you. And if you're not being tried, that's something that you really have to look at. That's something you really have to sit back and be like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why is the Lord not trying me? Why am I always in mirth? Right? Because it's good to be in mirth sometimes, but it's not good to be in mirth all the time. Right? It's not good to be in mirth all the time. Right? Because where are you going to learn and have certain experiences if you're not being tried? Right? If you're not being tried, where is the experience that you're gaining, right, when you're going through these certain things? Because if you're not going through nothing, you're not going to experience nothing. And you're not going to be able to teach someone else, when they be before certain times, right? If certain things come upon them, how are you going to teach them? Or how are you going to be able to learn for the next time, right? You have to go through these certain things. Reading on, it says, "How long wilt thou not depart from me, nor let me alone until I swallow down my spittle?" Right? So Job is saying, how long is this going to be upon me? How long is this certain thing, these certain spirits or this certain trial and tribulation is going to be upon me for? How long is going to continue to I'm going to be tried? Right? He's asking. He's asking. Right? And I know certain brothers and sisters feel that way. Right? But let's read on. It says, I have sinned. What shall I do unto thee, O thou preserver of men? Why hast thou set me as a mark against thee, so that I am a burden to myself? Right? And brothers and sisters can be questioning themselves that, if I'm being a burden or I'm just being tried, right? The Lord not dealing with me. He just putting these things on me for no reason. No, he's not doing that, right? He's doing it just to test you, to see if you're really his child or not. If you're going to still serve him in your affliction. If you're going to still serve him in your affliction, right? Certain evils is always going to continue to befall you, but that don't mean the Lord is going to cast you away, right? Let's get that in verse. Let's go to Job chapter 8, right? Right, this is where this answer comes, right? So this is Job chapter 8. I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, how long wilt thou speak these things? How long shall the words of thy mouth be like strong wind? Right? So this is his friends getting on him like, how long are you going to continue to keep saying that? Because at one point in time, the Lord had you up. The Lord had you up. The Lord, was doing these certain things, increasing you and stuff like that. But now when you are before these certain things now you like, woe is me. You can't be like that. You have to be in the same spirit as you were when you were up. You gotta be like, all praise the Most High God. Call Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Now I know sometimes it can be hard, man. I know sometimes it can be hard for a Hebrew out here, man. It's hard out here for a Hebrew. But you still have to be joyful. You still have to be cheerful when those things come upon you. Right? Hold on. I want to go to Job chapter 4 real quick. Right. This is Job chapter 4 and verse 3. It says, behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Right? So at one point in time, you instructed the weak. You instructed the people that were befallen of certain evils and stuff like that came upon them at one point in time. But now, right, reading on, thy words have upholden him that was falling, Slucky, and thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. But now it is come upon thee, and thou faintest. It toucheth thee, and thou art troubled. Right? So now you are troubled. Now it toucheth you. Now you feel like you can't get through it. After you instructed all these people, oh, brother, continue to keep enduring. Continue to call on the Lord, man. Pray to the Lord. Pray to the Lord. Say Kum Yasharallah when it happens, man. Say all praise the Most High. Now, weeks later, something befall you. Woe is me. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, man. I just don't know, man. What can I do? This is always keep happening to me, man. It just start happening. Like Jake is always like this, man. Right? Jake is always like this. We can't be procrastinators, or we can't be hypocrites, Lucky. We can't be hypocrites. Right? You can't just tell someone, how they should be, and you don't do the same thing. You can't tell someone, hey, you need to do this. You need to do that. No, brother, you got to do the same thing too. And you knew this same thing that you told this person what to do worked for you before. Now something stronger happened. Something even worse happened than other times. You still have to continue to have that faith that you had before. You still had to have that same instruction that you gave to a brother or sister, right? You still had to keep that same instruction. You had to still keep those certain things, man. Right? Let's actually, I'm gonna finish this out. Verse 6. It says, "This is not, Slaki, is not this thy fear, thy confidence, thy hope, and the uprightness of thy ways?" Right? So you have to continue, man, to keep the faith, man. Right? Continue to have, a trust in the Lord, man. Have confidence, right? Be patient. Be patient, right? Let's go back. Let's jump to Salaki. Let's go back to Job chapter 8, right? Chapter 8 and verse 3. "Doeth the Lord prevent judgment? And doeth the Almighty prevent or pervert just? If thy children have sinned against him, and he have cast them away for their transgression, if thou wouldest seek, Slaki, if thou wouldest seek unto the Lord betimes, and make thy supplication to the Almighty," right? So if the children, right, have sinned against him, he will push them away, right? Slaki, I ain't see this. Sympathetic to our suffering and pain. He is not there with his arms crossed, yelling, endure. He loves arms stretched out. He's living arms stretched out, saying, "Come to me for strength." Right, exactly. The Lord is always there, man. Right? The Lord is always there, and he's always going to continue to be there for the brokenhearted, the ones that's going through these certain things, and he's always going to continue. He's always going to continue to be there for them, right? Always, right? So let's get this couple more, and then we're gonna close out. All praise the Most High, right? All praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, man. All right, this is First Timothy. First Timothy chapter, Salaki. First Timothy chapter 1 and start at verse 16. It says, "Howbeit, for this cause I obtain mercy, that in me first Yahweh Shah HaMashiach might shew forth all long suffering for a pattern to them which should hereafter believe on him to life everlasting." Right? So the Lord has the mercy, everlasting, long suffering, man. Right? So you have to see these things as a pattern for our forefathers that went through these certain things. This is a pattern, right? When you're going through these things, you have to look at this pattern. Don't stray away from what you already know. Continue to look at the pattern. Continue to look at the blueprint. Continue to look at these things, these things that befall us, man. Look at these things. Don't search out anything else. Don't look for anything else to help you get through what's going on with you. Look at the pattern. You had to come back, always back to the Bible, always back to the Word of God, always to see these things, to understand these things, why these things are befalling you and coming on to you, right? Right, let's get Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 35, right? It says, "Cast not away, therefore, your confidence," right? Never cast away your confidence. The confidence that you have within the Lord, never cast it away. Always continue to have your confidence in the Lord, man. Right? It says, which have great recompense of reward. For ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of Yahweh, ye might receive the promise. Right? So you need patience to see and wait for the things that he has promised for you. You need that. You need that. If you lose that, guess what you lose? You lose the reward. You lose the promise that the Lord has set up for us. You lose part of that. You lose part of that. You can't do that. You have to continue to have the faith, patience, and trust in the Lord in these last days, right? Let me get this last one. Let me get my closing precept. All right. All praise the Most High God, man. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem HaMashiach Yahushua. Continue to have the patience and faith in the Lord. Those are very important things you need in this truth, man. This is Romans chapter 5 and verse 3. It says, and not only so, but we glory in tribulation also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. Right? So the tribulation that you're going through worketh patience. It worketh patience, man. It worketh the patience that you have, right? That you gain throughout that tribulation. You gain patience when you go through these tribulations, man. Right? Don't think, you're just going through tribulation and you're not gaining nothing from it. Don't look at it like that. Look at it as a life lesson. Right? Because for the next time, when you go through something after you just came from whatever you just came from, now you know, okay, if I got through that, and that was a hard time too, how much more now? Now you get to sit here and be patient in that time of trouble. And because you know and you believe that the Lord is going to get you out of that. Now you gain more faith. Now you gain more patience. All praise the Most High. And it's a beautiful feeling when you finally come out of that. When you finally come out of that hard time and trouble. You just want to just fall down to your knees and cry, man. I'm going to be honest with you, man. When I came from some hard times, man, I had to really sit there and think about it like, the Lord really got me through that. Like, it's beautiful to have that connection with the Most High God. And it's just not a connection, you're just you and the Most High. The Most High do that with all his children. When you really talk to brothers and sisters, they can go through the exact same thing that you went through. Right? They even had to wait longer than you or had to wait shorter than you. But they still went through that same thing and they experienced that same amazing feeling at the end of it. That's the way I know that's the way how Job felt. I know that. And many of our forefathers felt that same way. Like, the Most High God is actually with me. The Most High God is actually with me. He loves me and he has patience. He has faith and long suffering towards me. We had to continue to have that in this truth, right? Read on. Verse 4. And patience and experience hope, right? And when you gain that patience, you gain more experience, right? All praise the Most High God. So let's get the inner precepts, man. Let's get these inner precepts. We're gonna close out. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, man. Most High willing, brothers and sisters is really taking heed to what's being brought out, And if you feel like deep down in your spirit, if you really feel like